All right, so Blackboard kicked me off last time. So I don't know what's going to get saved. Okay, so we're going to solve this equation. We square both sides. On the left side, we'll cancel the square root. So we get 2x plus 13 equals x plus 7 squared. So 2x plus 13 equals x squared plus 14x plus 49. We subtract 13 from both sides because we need to get everything on one side. And we have to get everything on one side because it's a quadratic. Okay, this factors into x plus 6, which means that I have to solve just one linear equation, x plus 6 equals 0, which means that x is equal to minus 6. Now, we check our solution in the original equation. Oh, and that's supposed to be replaced with minus 6. So we get minus 12 plus 13 equals 1. Minus 12 plus 13 is 1. This is a question mark. And we see that the square root of 1 is equal to 1. Now I'm going to go to the calculator. Okay, and I have entered the two equations. I hit graph. There's my graph and my picture. I would really like to zoom in right here and see what's going on. So I choose zoom box. And so it wants the two opposite corners. So I'm going to select the lower left corner. I'm going to go up and across. Okay, so that's the part that I'm really interested in. I zoom in. And again, we can't really tell what's going on there. So let's go with the calc menu and let's do intersect. Okay, choose intersect. The first curve, the second curve, and a guess. And it is, so if I type in, that's some rounding error there. Let's type in minus 6 and I get y equals 1. I can use the up-down arrows to jump between equations, and we see that on both equations, that is a point on both equations. I can also go into table and see, so I'm at the positive side right now. So if I go towards the negatives, so I have to do a little bit of analysis sometimes to find where to look. And my square root, whoops, too far, go back. There we go, okay. So error because I'm taking the square root of a negative. All right, and stop. Okay, too far. Well, anyway, but you can go there and check. All right. Let's do another one. Let's see what happens if we get something like x minus the square root of 2x plus 5 equals 5. So I need to get the square root on one side and everything else on the other. So I'm going to add the square root of 2x plus 5 to both sides and subtract 5 from both sides. So that cancels, and I get the square root of 2x plus 5 equals x minus 5. Now this looks a lot like the problem we just did. We square both sides. And you can, off to the side, expand. All right, now we subtract 2x from both sides. And subtract 5 from both sides. I get x squared minus 12x plus 20. Factors of 20 are 4 and 5, but they don't add up to 12, so maybe there's another set of factors. That would be 2 and 10, and they do have a distance of 12. So x squared minus 2, not x squared, just x minus 2, x minus 10. And we check, so that's x squared minus 10x minus 2x plus 20. And that combines to give us the 12x. So this is the correct factorization. So I take each linear equation and set it equal to 0. Add 2 to both sides. I get x equals 2. Add 10 to both sides. And I get x equals 10. Now, I need to check. So using x equals 2 first, I get 2, so I'm going back to the original equation of x minus the square root of 2x plus 5 equals 5. So plug in 2. 2 minus 2 times 2 plus 5. 2 minus 4 plus 5 is 9. So 2 minus the square root of 9 is 2 minus 3, which is equal to minus 1, and is not 5. So this is not a solution. Do it for the other one. So 10 minus 2 times 10 plus 5 is going to be 10 minus 25 under the square root. Square root of 25 is 5, and 10 minus 5 is 5. So 10 is the solution. Now, if I go to my graph, what I'm going to type in is the left side, x minus the square root of 2x plus 5, and that's equal to 5. Okay, I want to go back to my standard window. Okay, so the standard window doesn't quite capture that. So let's change our x max to something like 15. We can change our min to 0 because we're not interested in stuff that's happening over there. So there's that, and there's that. And so let's use trace. Type in 10, and we see there we are. So if I use my up arrow and hop between the two equations, it's basically the same. So, and here is at x equals 2. And we can see that at x equals 2, the graph, one graph is down here and the other's up there. So there's no intersection here at x equals 2. So 2 is not a solution. All right, one more. X plus 8 minus x minus 4 equals 2. Now, let's start with the calculator this time. So let's go over here. So the right-hand side is going to be 2. So here we do the square root of x plus 8 minus the square root of x minus 4. And let's graph that and see what happens. So our 0 is somewhere in here. We can go to our window and change our y-min to something like, let's do 0 and maybe 5. So you get a little more resolution. And there we see that it happens right there. So let's hit trace. And let's see if that answers 8. And it certainly looks like 8. So let's go to table and go up to 8. And we see that that is the case. All right, now, what would we do if it's not an integer and we need an exact answer? So we square both sides, and so that gives us x plus 8 squared minus 2 times x plus 8 in the square root and x minus 4, and then plus x minus 4 squared equals 4. So that cancels. I get x plus 8 minus 2, x plus 8, x minus 4, plus x minus 4 equals 4. Okay, so we get 2x plus 4 minus this stuff equals 4. So I subtract 4 from both sides, and so that cancels, and I subtract 2x from both sides. And so now what I have is minus 2x plus 8 x minus 4 equals minus 2x. I can divide both sides by minus 2, and I get x plus 8, x minus 4 equals x. Square both sides, and so I get x plus 8 squared, square root squared, x minus 4 square root squared equals x squared. And so that cancels and that cancels. So I get x plus 8 times x minus 4 equals x squared. So we distribute x squared minus 4x plus 8x minus 32 equals x squared. So the x squareds cancel. Subtract them off, and then we get 4x minus 32 equals 0. So we add 32 to both sides, divide both sides by 4, and we get 8. So that time, we only had one solution when we looked at the graph, and when we solved the equation, we only had one solution. So the solution's 8. You could see how it would be possible that we might get a quadratic if we were doing something like this. If we had like a 2x here, the x squareds wouldn't have canceled off, and we would get 2 solutions, and we would have to check them. But we can start with the calculator and then go to go find the exact solution if it turns out it's not an integer or a fraction that we can tell.